Welcome back. This is part 3 of our series, Basic Strategic Introduction to Strategic Planning for Churches That Don't Strategically Plan Well. In episode 2, we planned a camp out for my church, an actual church event, and we backward engineered a strategic plan for that event. We determined some major elements and some decisions that were going to have to be made, and we set dates for when those had to take place. So we're prepared. Today, we're going to take a practical tool, spoon, and we're going to use it to take those steps and some less crucial, more creative steps and put them into a real, working, functional, useful plan.
When I was a little boy in pastor school, nobody was happy. I had high blood pressure, and I started crying. Daddy told me to meet him in front of the liquor store.
Welcome, my name is Jim Holland, and first off, I'm going to ask you to leave us a comment sometime while you're watching this video. Tell us what kind of things you strategically plan for. Now, if you're one of those cheater people, and if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes of this series, well, that's clearly evil, as it says in the book of Adverbs. Stop now, go watch those, and I'll entertain myself until you get back. How about we go forward now and look at this thing in normal time? Okay, for planning these types of things, I use an Excel document.
Does anyone know what Microsoft Excel is?
This Excel document, action plan, well, it's not my idea. I didn't think it up. We actually used this at a church that I worked at. And I've probably used it for the last 16 or so years. Because it works. If you would like to check it out, or you would like to just view it, or maybe you want to take it, use it for yourself, or create your own version of it, I will leave a link to the blank version of it in the description below, and I'll also leave the example that we're going to use in this episode. Here is how it works. If you look at it, this is a project action plan. You can see there are the team members, and below that is the goal, the mission. This is your event. You can also see to the right, there's some colored things. We'll get to that in a second. And then there's a revision date. And every time you update this, you change the revision date so you know the last time that it was edited. On the left, you can see blocks such as February 17. And then the lines that connect to those are actually things that happen within that month. You can see item, which is the thing that has to happen. You can see description notes. That gives you some specifics of what's going on. The owner is the person who is in charge, who is responsible for whatever specific task or decision is in one of those horizontal lines. Resources is just whoever you might need to contact for, well, resources. Due date, that's pretty obvious. It's the date that each decision or task is due. And then you have status. This is probably my favorite part of this whole action plan. You can see it's color-coded, and it works pretty much like a traffic light.
I like traffic lights. I like traffic lights.
Green means we are good to go. Red means we are now officially behind schedule. Yellow means we're working on it. It's getting there, I promise. When you make your own plan, set appropriately timed dates for when actions must be completed, or else they get stamped with the red. Are you excited with me? I'm excited! I love checklists, and this is just a glorified checklist. Okay, thinking back to the backward engineered plan and the dates that we have, let's take a look at this action plan. The first look at it, there hasn't really been any revisions, and it has the stuff that we originally put down from our backward engineered plan. We've decided to have a camp out. We choose a leader. We gather all the possible information. We reserve the campground. We choose a person in charge of all the promo material. We get the details to the person in charge of the promo material. We begin working on the promotional material. Then, by April 1st, all the promotional materials are supposed to be completed. On April 22nd, we start promoting the camp out. On May 1st, registration begins. On July 15th, registration ends, and then the camp out happens on July 20th. Now that is what it looks like initially on paper. And this can be done a year in advance or earlier. And the really cool thing is that a week or two before the camp out, well, most everything's done and there's no tyranny of the urgent. Having a strategic timeline makes it clear to everyone where we are going.
Tell me where are we going?
And then all you have to do is work the plan. The fun thing about this action plan is that you can add spaces to any one of the months. And why do we do this? It's so we can add things that maybe we've forgotten, things that have been missed. Or even more fun, it's all the creative stuff, the little things that you put into the plan that make the camp out really amazing and memorable. But as we've said before, and like they said in the movie Bridge on the River Kwai, there's always the unexpected.
Baby monkey, backwards on a pig, baby monkey.
We make sure we can add space for things that we've forgotten, things that we've missed, and for the crazy ideas that pop up. I love the crazy ideas.
Look, if we built this large wooden badger...
For instance, some of the stuff that we're going to have to add into the plan is, well, we're going to need worship leaders for the retreat. So we put into the plan, recruit and confirm dates for a worship leader. And then we have a date where we reconfirm and make sure that the worship leader is actually going to be there. During this beast of a camp out, we're going to have some people who lead daily devotions. So we're going to have to recruit, wait, that has an E in it. We're going to have to recruit devotional leaders, and we're going to do that by June 15th. They don't necessarily need a lot of time for preparation, but remember, this is the last date that it has to be due, so it can happen anytime before this. Well, we just decided that we want to have a speaker, a designated speaker for the camp out. So obviously, we are going to have to recruit a speaker, and we're going to have to confirm the dates with them, and we're going to have to do this early. So we're going to say on April 15th, we're going to have this person in place, but then always follow up. So we are going to reconfirm the speaker on July 1st. So then the thought occurs to you, hey, what are the kids going to do on the camp out? We should have some kids activities, and whoa, what if the kids could actually be prepared and lead something for the whole camp out? How awesome would that be? So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk to the children's ministry team, and we're going to do that by the 15th of April. Literally, not even kidding, literally today, I had the idea, we should have a t-shirt for the camp out. We've never had a camp out t-shirt before. We should do that this year. So I stuck into the action plan, nailed down t-shirt info. And we're going to find the prices, the sizes available, how long it takes to get the t-shirts, and we're going to try to figure all that information out by April 1st. And then we're going to add the t-shirt info to the promotional material, and we're going to add it to the registration process. And that should be done by April 15th. Ooh, one of the fun ideas that we came up with was, let's get one of those giant water hamster balls. It'll be awesome with people in it rolling down the river. So we will order that from online somewhere, and we will make sure that that is ordered by May 1st. Now, assuming that they're going to let us have a campfire, because it could be too dry here, we're going to need a firewood person. So we're going to recruit that person, make sure we have them confirmed by July 1st. Here at the end of February, now we're looking forward at all of these decisions and actions that have to take place. But there are still numerous things that could pop up, ideas that we have that we could put into the action plan and set dates by which they have to happen. But moving on. We are now at July 20th, and it is time for the camp out. It's time for all of this work to make the camp out run smoothly. So you have the camp out, and having this action plan should make the weekend of the camp out run pretty smoothly. Oh yeah, put in your action plan to make sure you bring a first aid kit. Now that the camp out's over and you have gotten some sleep and you don't smell like campfire smoke anymore, people are going to want to see pictures of themselves. And people are definitely going to want to see pictures of their children. So somebody needs to be assigned the task of gathering all those pictures, gathering videos, put them into whatever format that you want to show in your church, to put on your Facebook page, to put on your website. And most of the time, people want that the following weekend, so it's still fresh in their memory. And something that is true of all true strategic planners is that we evaluate everything. Sometimes I've done evaluation forms at retreats to get feedback on how things went. You could do a comment card. At the very least, sit down with your team and walk through all of the steps and all of the campouts, see how things went, take notes, and use your critical eye. And then take all of that stuff, put it into a document, and put it into a folder that is listed as Church Campout 2018. And that will be the beginning of your action plan for next year's campout. And so we try to plan for every conceivable contingency that could happen. Obviously, we're going to miss some. And we're not all knowing, but we do the best that we can. But let me tell you a story about why this is important. Years ago, when I was doing youth ministry, we would take our youth group every year on a beach retreat to the Florida coast. And every year, we would use an action plan. So one year, we started 9 months in advance. That was pretty normal for this particular trip. And we began putting everything into the action plan and setting dates. I had this administrative assistant who was phenomenal, who could do everything. But she was pregnant and she was not going to be able to go on the trip this year. But I also had this amazing student intern. Her name? Chantal Trosclair. No, that's really her name. I'm not making that up. And because she was part of the staff, she knew the action plan. She worked the action plan. She knew how to add things to it. She knew how to confirm things that were on it. She was amazing. She's actually one of our associate consultants here now. Well, because of the action plan and because of all of the planning we did before this retreat where we took 75 students down to the beach, the week before was kind of lazy. We hung around and pretty much everything was done. But, as we said, there's always the unexpected. This one particular year, 10 days before the retreat, my appendix decided that it wanted to secede from my body. And I had to go to the hospital, and I had to have my appendix removed. And I spent 5 days in the hospital just days before this giant retreat. And when the time for the retreat came around, I was even more useless than normal. The quote of the year was, "Hey Jim, don't get water in your appendix hole." So even though we had numerous qualified, gifted adult leaders, this high school senior, this girl, Chantal, she ran the entire retreat. She had the plan, she followed the plan, she got everything that we needed, she made everything happen. And out of like 236 items on this checklist, she missed one thing. And it was just a ridiculous giant 8-foot in diameter inflatable beach ball. Between a highly detailed, prepared strategic action plan and Chantal's ridiculous leadership skills, the retreat happened and it was phenomenal. Oh yeah. I was going to baptize people in the Gulf of Mexico. That was definitely going to happen. And I definitely got water in my appendix hole. But the point is, a strategic plan can save you from nightmares, it can save you from disasters, and it can save you from the tyranny of the urgent. In pastor school, we learned how the Bible is the story of God's strategic planning for how to fix what was broken. But nobody taught us how to buy a giant water hamster ball.